Okay, before we get started, I want to go over a couple tools you're going to need. You're going to need a good set of gunsmithing screwdrivers. I like this set from Wheeler. Excellent kit. You're going to need a good set of punches. You're going to need a small hammer. And you may need a rubber mallet. The first thing you want to do is make sure the gun is unloaded. This gun is unloaded. Now we want to turn the takedown screw and take the two halves apart. Just that easy. Next we want to take out the magazine tube. Next we're going to remove this pin right here so we can take out the outer magazine tube. And just like so. Okay, this is your slide cover screw. We're going to take this one out next. Now your cover here slides off to the left. Pull it out. And now you can take, this here is called the action slide handle. This here is the action slide. And you can take out this screw and this screw. This one is missing, but you would take out these two screws and you can pull this piece out. Okay, these are your magazine rings. You have a front and you have a rear. The rear has a hole in it for your pin. Now to take these out, just twist them and they'll come right out. Now we can take the bolt out, and to do that just push in the firing pin. Lift up on it, and she slides right out. Let's take a quick look at this. Here's the back of your firing pin. Here's the front, and it should protrude not quite 1/16 of an inch. Here's your extractor. Now to take that out, you have to punch this pin out right here. We're not going to take out the extractor, but if you had to replace it, punch that pin out. Now to take the firing pin out, we have to remove these two screws right here, so let's do that right now. Now this piece here is the firing pin stop. As you can see, this one's broken on the end, but it doesn't affect the function of the rifle. And you can take your firing pin out. That's what it looks like, firing pin spring. And that's all you need to do on your bolt. You know, as far as a receiver, once you take the two halves apart and you pull the bolt out, there's nothing in here you need to take out, or nothing that's going to fall out and get lost. So all you have to do here is take a good nylon brush, clean it out real good. You have access to your chamber. Let's see if we can get a shot here. And that should do it on the receiver. Okay, next we want to take off the buttstock, and to do that we're going to take out this screw right here. And it should slide right off. What you want to do is check your wood here, see if there's any cracks. This one's actually in pretty good shape. Okay, this lower receiver, actually Winchester calls this the guard. So we're going to cock it. Make sure you do not pull the trigger with this cocked, otherwise you could cause some damage. But you have your carrier right here. You have your carrier lifter. You have your cartridge stop right here. Let's take a look at that. See if your gun should look similar to this. If you have something broke, this might help a little bit. You'll notice this has a leaf spring in it for the hammer. If you have a Model 62, you're going to have a strut and a coil spring. You'll notice you have two screws here. Now if you have a Model 62, you won't have this screw here. What this is, it's a tension screw for this spring. So in order to take this spring out, you're going to back off this screw. You don't have to take it all the way out, but back it off enough so you take all the tension off of this spring, and then remove this screw, and you can take your spring out. We're not going to do it. It's very simple to do. Now once you do that, that leaves you with your hammer, your trigger, and your lifter. And we're not going to take that out, and I'll show you why. Okay, here's your takedown screw, which rides in this bushing. Now to take the hammer and the carrier out, you have to remove this bushing, and we're not going to do that. Let me show you why. Let me see if I can get a nice close-up here. You see that pin there on that screw? You have to drive that pin out and then remove your takedown screw, and you can take the bushing out. Then you can take the hammer and carrier out. But that's a very small pin. I'm not going to take it out because I don't want to break it or lose it. This is a 1/16 punch, which is too big for that pin. So I really can't even take it out if I wanted to. So you know, if you have a broken carrier or a broken hammer, you're pretty much going to have to take this to a gunsmith to get it fixed. Other than that, just about everything else on this gun you could probably do yourself. Well, let me point out you do have a screw right here, and that is for the trigger spring. You can see it right down in there. So if you needed to replace this spring here, you're going to take out your hammer spring, and you can easily replace that spring. But to go any further than that, you're going to have to take it to a gunsmith and have him take out this bushing. But you know what? Let's put this gun back together and see if we can't do a little shooting. Now before you put your firing pin back in, get your little light oil. Put a little bit. You can see where it rubs a little bit. That tells you where you need to put a little oil. Put it back in the bolt. Make sure it operates freely. Put your firing pin stop back in. Put your screws back, and you're done with the bolt. Now before you put the bolt back in, just put a little light oil on it, and you can see where you really need to put oil. You can see some little rub marks, for instance on the rails. Put a little bit just wherever you see where it's been rubbing. And especially get some right back here. This is where your gun actually locks up before it fires. So just get a little lube on it. And make sure you get some on the back end here. This is where this is where your hammer is going to rub. We've already oiled the firing pin. And stick her back in. And work it a couple of times. Remember, you got to push in your firing pin to unlock it. That's what this little piece here does. This is what locks the bolt when it closes, and that unlocks it when you push in the firing pin. On your action slide, just get a little oil wherever you see it rubbing. Just like so. Make sure you get some on the piece right here. That's the piece that fits in your bolt. Just like so. On your slide cover, you want to put just a little bit on the inside there. Okay, I don't have my magazine tube in yet, but I do have my slide on, so let's just check that a few times. Make sure everything's working nice and smooth. Okay, next we're going to put our magazine rings back in. Remember, you have two of them. The one with the hole in it goes in the back. Okay, next we're going to put in our outer magazine tube, and you might want to put a little oil on it. Doesn't take much. And we're going to slide it back in here. Now remember, when you put this pin in here, it's going to mate up with, let's see if we can get a close-up here, this little notch right here in the tube, right there. That, when you put that pin in there, it's going to line up with that notch. So let's slide this in. Make sure your tube goes into your receiver. Doesn't go in far, about 1/4 inch or so. Alright, just like so. And I can't show you on video, but I will make sure that slot in the magazine tube is lined up with the hole there for my pin. Just like so. Make sure everything's still working nice and smooth. Bolt locks up, unlocks. Now we can put the two halves back together. You'll notice this has a little nipple right here, and that's going to fit in this recess right there. All you got to do is kind of line everything up, pull your takedown pin out a little bit, screw it down, check your action, shoots good, make sure it does not unlock until you fire the gun, and there you have it. Very easy to take apart actually, and pretty easy to put back together. So let's go put a few rounds through this. Anybody need some dentures?